You're watching Halton News right here on your TV. It's Wednesday, August 19th, and I'm your host, Sherry Ford, in for Jessica Kading. It's another day of triple-digit new COVID-19 cases in Ontario, with 102 new cases being reported. But the numbers in the Halton region have dropped by one. Once again, the overall number of active cases has dropped from 29 to 28. Oakville is down 1 to 10 active cases. Milton is down 1 to 7. Hulton Hills is up 1 active case to 4, and Burlington remains the same with 7. In an effort to expand protection and reduce transmission of COVID-19, the City of Burlington has expanded the temporary mask bylaw. As of August 20th, people will have to wear a mask in most common areas of condos and apartment buildings. This bylaw will run until September 30th unless it is extended by City Council. We now go to Nikki Wesley, who will explain how the city is helping distribute masks for those who may not have one.
Thanks, Sherry. I'm here at Burlington City Hall, where they've recently announced that they've handed out more than 16,500 non-medical masks that were donated. Now, that's obviously to help people comply with the new bylaw of wearing a mask indoors in public spaces. If you're still in need of a mask, you can certainly come down here to City Hall, or you can go to one of 4 library branches, including New Appleby, Tansley Woods, Central, and Aldershot. Now, if you're without a mask, you can go to the door and just indicate to a staffer inside that you need a mask, and they will help you with that. And they are certainly still looking to have masks donated. So if you can, please bring masks to be donated down directly to City Hall, and that can be either the disposable type or the reusable type. Or you can donate financially, and donations of more than $25 will be issued a tax receipt. And also, Councillor Shauna Stolt brought up a very good point that if you were a business and you had branded masks, what a better way to have your masks, walking around town helping advertise your business. So that's something that business owners might want to think about. With that, I'll throw it back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Nikki. For more information on City Hall and library hours, go to burlington.ca. The Halton Regional Police Service Internet Child Exploitation Unit has arrested a 50-year-old male for attempting to lure children online. Richard Beasley of Oakville has been charged with luring a child and 2 counts of criminal harassment. The ICE unit was made aware of a male that created multiple online accounts on a social media messaging app in attempts to communicate repeatedly with several children under the age of 18. The incidents occurred between the month of January and April of this year. Beasley used Instagram under several usernames. Police believe there may be additional victims. Anyone with information is asked to call Detective Todd Martin at 905-465-8983 or call Crime Stoppers. A deadline to submit comments on a proposed CN rail hub is just around the corner, and there is a sense of urgency to get your input, as the government is expected to make their final decision next month. Melissa Candelaria reports.
The effects of CN's proposed rail hub project put Halton residents at risk. The proposal would create a new freight facility that would bring 1,600 truck trips daily to and from the proposed site that is adjacent to a thriving residential community in Milton.
And that's just a sample of Halton Region's latest video on why they are against the proposed CN Rail Logistics Hub in Milton, urging residents wanting to speak out against this proposal to do so quickly, as time is running out. Ontario's Ministry of Environment and Climate Change will be making a final decision on the proposed 400-acre truck rail hub on September 23rd. The Impact Assessment Agency of Canada is in the final stages of public consultation in the federal review process, with the deadline looming on August 21st. Regional Councillor Mike Cluett says he's hopeful they will get the results they are looking for.
I'm fairly confident that the Impact Assessment Agency will go through the comments that have been received by residents, and looking at the previous reports from the last summer's activities, and seeing that there are going to be significant adverse environmental impacts. And they'll be able to, this Impact Assessment Agency will be able to see these comments from Milton residents, from Halton residents, in fact. And this just doesn't hit Milton. This is Halton Region, Oakville, Burlington, Halton Hills, and Milton.
So what happens after September 23rd? Well, Cluett says it all depends what the decision is.
That's the million-dollar question right now. The government can turn around and say, no, this project's not going forward, and that's the end of the deal. They could also come by and say, well, we need to have more conditions, we need to have more studies. So it could continue on past then. But like I said, we're fairly confident that the federal government, along with the advocacy of all of our Halton region MPs, to be able to look at this, notice that there are significant adverse environmental impacts on our community from noise, from dust, from particulates that are going to be in the area, obviously from traffic and from noise, the proximity to residential areas, and the fact that they haven't really given us the full plans for the full facility. They've only given us a small portion going forward, so we don't know exactly what is being planned after that. So again, we've been relying on the advocacy, obviously from all 4 area municipalities, from our Conservation Authority, Conservation Halton, as well as the Halton area MPs to bring the voices of Halton to Ottawa. And hopefully on September 23rd, there'll be a favorable decision for the people of Halton.
Again, the deadline to submit your comments to the Impact Assessment Agency of Canada is on August 21st. For details on the proposed logistics hub with a link to the Impact Assessment Agency survey, go to halton.ca/cn. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Melissa Candelaria.
Yesterday, we took a look at how the movie theater industry has been impacted by the pandemic. Today, Nikki Wesley shares the story of how one filmmaker created a unique historical record in the form of a feature film focusing on a single day in April.
The cinema industry has taken a serious hit in the pandemic, with Hollywood studios stalling new movie releases until American movie theaters are able to reopen for business. Film.ca CEO Jeff Knoll's answer was, if you can't get the films, then make them.
When I set out in life to get into this industry, I just wanted to be a filmmaker, and I fell into ushering at a young age and stayed in the movie theater since, but filmmaking's still a passion of mine. And we were actually in the midst of pre-production for a Christmas movie we were going to shoot. We were supposed to shoot in May for release this fall, called Christmas Distractions, set in a movie theater of all places.
When the pandemic lockdown hit, the film was put on hold. Knoll shares that many talented people work at Film.ca, like Sheridan film students and future filmmakers. They started to look for something creative to keep them busy while the theater was closed.
The idea came that I had to find something that had to be something we could produce that didn't involve contact with people. So this idea of having people shoot their own day, their one pandemic day, within their family unit, within their business, to talk about what the pandemic has done to them, how it's affected, how they've adapted. And that's where this movie idea came from. So on April 14th, we had I believe we had 17 families or 17 groups across town to talk about their day, and they filmed their entire day. And then that was all knit together very, very effectively by my director, editor, Mikkel Varay, into this amazing feature film.
Relinquishing control of the filming and actual content of each individual's day, Knoll wasn't sure what the final product would look like.
So it could have been really sad. It could have been just this whole documentary about the medical aspects of COVID. But it was this really interesting slice of life. And there are really funny moments, there are very sad moments. And so you can literally, I've sat in the theater with a couple groups of people now, just sort of gauging the audience. And it's really interesting because you can hear people they're clearly sobbing, or people that are laughing their heads off at different scenes.
While the film does include the perspective of one doctor, it's not a medical documentary and features people from all walks of life.
And the really interesting thing, the thing I find most fascinating about this project was the resiliency of people. I knew what my experience was, and I was very fortunate because I had a place to go every day. Even though the theater was closed, I was here. So many other people were basically stuck in their homes the whole time, and that's really most of the people who participated in the film. And I'm stunned at how resilient people were, even the kids, how well they adapted. And so that's what came out in One Pandemic Day.
One Pandemic Day is showing at Film.ca until August 27th. For those not ready to visit the theater, it's also available on Vimeo on demand. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
Most of us have heard about the importance of communication, but every now and then we need a reminder that communication is more than just words.
Hi, this is Dr. Ashik Bhattacharya speaking to you from the Empathy Clinic here in Oakville. So, today I want to talk about communication. 4 million years ago, a creature that stood on two legs roamed the planet. About 300,000 years ago, we came along as Homo sapiens. And about 50,000 years ago, we started to learn to use speech and language. That means for about 3,950,000 years, we've been using gestures with our hands and our faces and tone, i.e. the volume of our grunts and noises, to communicate everything that we wanted to communicate to each other. So I call that the packaging. Since we've invented speech, we've been able to have language in various forms and styles that can hopefully communicate how we think and feel about things. Now, if you think about speaking to someone as a package, then the way that you present your communication to them is surrounding the actual message inside. So let's see what's inside here. Yeah, just what I thought. Empathy. Now, if the package doesn't line up with the message inside, it's unlikely that your message is going to get across. So, when you're trying to communicate something to somebody, it could be someone at work, it could be a friend, a family member, or a loved one. Please pay attention to all the things that you're doing, maybe with your body, your hands, your face, your tone, that are not communicating what you're actually intending to communicate. Once you get those things lined up, the message inside and the packaging around it, that's when your communication is going to get across. So you give what you get, and if you give the right message, it's going to get across. Okay? Stay safe. See you next time.
Thank you for joining us here on Halton News. We need to take a short break, but we'll be right back with an interview with the Oakville Mayor. Welcome back to Halton News right here on your TV. Joining us now is Oakville Mayor Rob Burton. It's been about 5 months since COVID-19 shut down much of the nation's. Things have slowly been getting back to normal. How has the economy bounced back in Oakville, or has it yet?
Well, I only can give you sort of a snapshot from the very, very high level and the very, very street level. On the one hand, Ford Motor Company is back in production, and they're shipping cars, and that's the biggest employer in Oakville and possibly our most important economically. So that's a good sign, I think. The automakers and Unifor are in talks about a future contract. That's better than not being in talks about a future contract, and we'll have to see how that goes. At the street level, merchants that I speak to downtown on our brand new fancy streetscape are telling me that things are going very well indeed. And I detect quite a sense of optimism and happiness. At the other end of the downtown, where it's been locked up behind fences for, must be coming on at least 7 months, the fences are down on the first block, and it's quite a sight to see. It's amazing how when you first see the new wider sidewalks and the pretty new look of the place, it really lifts your feeling, and it's so that front end or that end of town is presenting a nicer face to the rest of the town too. So, all in all, it's looking pretty good as far as I know.
Now, with flu season right around the corner and school going back into the classrooms, is Oakville prepared for that predicted second wave of COVID?
Well, I'm not aware of a prediction of a second wave. I'm aware of lots of fears of second waves. And actually, if you've been listening to the medical officers of health of Canada and Ontario, it's kind of shifted from a talk of a wave to a series of bumps or wavelets, like an ongoing outbreak. And if you think about it, you should expect that. We took all these restrictions not in the name of killing the virus, because it was too late and nobody thought we could do that. We did it in the name of expanding our healthcare system so that we would be able to be taken care of when we got the virus. I sometimes put it this way: we took the restrictions in order to run and win a foot race against time to get the capacity of our healthcare system up before. So we flattened the curve until we could get enough capacity to handle us, so that we wouldn't look like Milan or New York City or any of the other places where they didn't have the capacity to give people the life-saving treatment that they might need.
Thank you for your time today, Mayor Burton, and stay safe. Taking a look at weather and the 5-day forecast, and it will be hot for the next few days. Thursday, sunny and 28. Friday, a high of 30 degrees under sunny skies. Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud and a scorching 31 degrees. Some showers sneaking in Sunday and Monday, a high of 26 to finish off the weekend and start the week. To sports now, and the Milton Sports Hall of Fame has postponed their 2020 induction ceremony until further notice due to COVID-19. The event that was to enshrine 5 new members was previously scheduled for Thursday, November 19th in Milton. Rescheduling plans for the 2020 induction ceremony will be considered when the Hall's Board of Directors meets at the future date. Until then, let's take a closer look at this year's new members.
Darlene Krantz. She's in martial arts, jiu-jitsu, and she's a 4-time world champion. And she's also a North American champion, I believe. She's just an incredible person. Her father, Bob Krantz, was inducted 2 years ago in 2018. And she's just a stellar candidate, obviously. The other female is Martha Gleason. So this is actually a unique one because it's the first time that we're having a basketball inductee. So herself, Martha, and her husband, Pat, they started the Monarch basketball program in Milton. And really at the time when they started the program, there was really no basketball programs really in Milton outside of high school, really. She was actually recognized by the Toronto Raptors in 1997 for all of her efforts in basketball. Travis Garrett's is another spectacular one, aerial skier in freestyle skiing. Went to the Olympics and finished in 7th place, representing Canada. He's, really done it all in the world of aerial skiing. He had a silver in the World Championships. That's actually how he qualified for the Olympics. So, for me, my fondest memory of him is just how he inspired the kids in Milton. All the schools had viewing parties for the Olympics when he was competing, and it's just an incredible sport if you've never seen it, just flying up in the air off the jump and then doing these gymnastic maneuvers. It's incredible. And then we have Steve Condren. So Steve Condren is a driver in harness racing, home track being Mohawk racetrack here in Campbellville, which is part of Milton, and he won 6,859 races, just incredible. Highlight of his career, winning the $1 million Pepsi Cup. He's an incredible driver. And last but not least, Bill Rowney. So Bill Rowney has volunteered for the Ontario Minor Hockey Association for over 40 years. He was president of the Milton Minor Hockey Association, as well as a whole slew of other hockey activities. To encapsulate the whole thing, I think the reason that we're most excited about all of these inductees is hopefully they inspire the next generation, and also they bring a real sense of pride to our community, and they put Milton on the map.
One of the biggest challenges organizations face right now is figuring out how to lead through these unpredictable and uncertain times. In light of this, the Burlington Chamber of Commerce invites you to experience the Dare to Lead program. It's a leadership development program with a focus on building various and valuable skill sets. Individuals who successfully complete the full 24-hour Dare to Lead program will receive a certificate of completion and are allowed to put a Dare to Lead train badge on their LinkedIn account. Space is limited. To register, please visit burlingtonchamber.com. Now let's take a look at today's closing markets. Thanks for joining us here on Halton News. We need to take a short break, but we'll be right back with an update from the Burlington Food Bank. Welcome back to Halton News right here on your TV. I'm Sherry Ford in for Jessica Kading. The Burlington Food Bank continues to be very busy during the pandemic. It is in need of cereal and more volunteers. They are also sending the message to take care of yourself and each other.
We continue to have our Feed Ontario conferences going on this week. Yesterday I was in on one on compassion fatigue and burnout, and just one of the main things they talked about was being able to recognize it in yourself or being able to recognize it in friends or family. So I think it's really important that if you have a friend or family that work within things like food banks or some of the social services or at the hospital or in healthcare, that you check in with them and see how they're doing and make sure that they're kind of taking care of themselves, making sure that they're eating properly, getting the proper sleep, and being able to converse with other people about some of the struggles that they're maybe dealing with. One of the other big things that they talked about was for us to be able to recognize it within one another, and normally we can talk about it with each other, and sometimes we aren't able to. And so it's important for us to also get the proper exercise that we need. So just getting out for long walks and being able to sort of decompress that way, we think is really, really important. Also here at the food bank right now, we've definitely seen our cereal stock going down. So if you happen to be out and around, please pick up some cereal for us. And again, we're looking for volunteers coming in the fall. So if you're able to volunteer with us in the mornings, Monday to Friday, between about 8:30 and noon, that would be fantastic. Again, just go to our website and you can fill out a volunteer application there. Thanks again so much for all the support that you give to us here at the Burlington Food Bank.
And that's it for Halton News. For more information or to catch more stories, head to our website, yourtv.tv, or email us at haltonnews@cogeco.com. Thanks for watching Halton, and have a great night.